At the University of Colorado, we make quality education accessible to everyone. We award more undergraduate, graduate, and professional degrees than any other university in the state. We reimagine the way communities are designed, and we help people throughout Colorado to be healthier. We are 4 campuses, united in making a difference.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, you're tuned in to the Lion's Den, official source of UCCS Sports. On the other side of our commercial break, Matt Buckley made a comment about that he thinks the UCCS men's basketball team can beat anybody. And I do agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Looking at the women's basketball team, I've often had a feeling that they can beat anybody, but I don't think they can get beat by anybody. And to me, that's the biggest difference between the men's and the women's team this season. I see a lot of potential on that men's team, fellas. And I think they can beat anybody. But I also get the feeling that they could get upset and beat by anybody in the RMAC.
Sure.
I don't get that feeling from the women's team. Now, they didn't have an undefeated weekend this weekend, certainly, but they lost to a tough Colorado Mesa team, which we'll break down in just a minute. But I have the feeling that they can beat anybody in the RMAC.
Sure.
I don't think anybody can beat this women's team. I think that they are a really solid group of girls, solid core, and we'll throw out some of the names and numbers in just a minute, but the potential and the talent on this women's team, I think, is as good as I've seen here at UCCS.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I think that's a great way to put it. I mean, they're in a place where they can beat anybody, but it takes a special team to upset the Mountain Lions on a given weekend. So I like the way you put that.
I think so. Going into the results, Mountain Lions beat Western State 61-55 on Friday night, and then fell to Colorado Mesa 80-63 on Saturday night. Charlie, you were there, part of the action for both those games. What was the difference between Friday and Saturday night? I mean, other than the results, one being a win, one being a loss, what really was the difference in terms of play on the court? What did you see from Friday into Saturday that allowed the Mavericks to get the win, whereas the Mountaineers could not?
Yeah, you know, it was a little weird of a weekend just because that first game against Western State, Troy Fisher got in foul trouble. It seemed like all of the post players were in foul trouble. I think ended the game, Brittany Hernandez had 4, Troy Fisher had 4, Anna Schwecke had 3, and Mia Carter had, I think, 3 or 4. So it just slowed the pace down. In that Western State game, the pace was very slow. It seemed like both teams were just running their half court, and no one really was going on those breaks. And then Jen Vigil turned it up, had a huge night from downtown, and also we saw a lot more driving from Jen Vigil. So that was the other thing. The game against Colorado Mesa, I think that was one of the fastest games of the year. It started at 5:30, and I think it felt like it ended at 6, but it just the referees, let them play, and really it was a back and forth game until around that third quarter where Mountain Lions just kept slipping, and Tori Fisher was on fire, Brittany Hernandez was on fire, 25 points, like I said, but it was just too much to handle. Erin Richley had 20 points in the first half, and then Brianna Adams right now, who's leading the RMAC in scoring, she had 0 points going into the second half. Then it just erupted. It seemed like every shot she took, she made. I think ended up with 30 points in that game as well. So it was, Erin Richley had 30 points in that game. Brianna Adams had 23. So it just seemed like 0 to 23 in the second half is just bigs. And Brianna Adams just really gave the Mountain Lions everything she could.
Sounds like UCCS went up against a bit of a team in position to make a playoff push. Because we look at those standings, and the Mavericks are right on the Mountain Lions' heels as well. So they're vying for a playoff spot as well. So I feel like at Grand Junction, UCCS saw both of the best teams for the men and the women's side of things. You can see the standings right there. Colorado Mesa just above UCCS now after the weekend, so they were really kind of chipping at our heels, and that was a big win for them. You can see us currently in 4th place, so if the season ended today, we'd be hosting a first-round playoff game, but with quite a few games left, that's kind of a sweet spot we need to hold on to. Spencer, what's your take going into this weekend's games for the women's side of things? On Friday night, a win against Western State. Jen Vigil leading the charge there, 17 points, 5 assists. And then Charlie mentioned Brittany Hernandez the next night, 25 points. Huge outing. What was your take on the weekend, Friday and Saturday night?
Yeah, I think Western State, we look at the idea that Brittany had a ton of points at Mesa, and we always say it's quiet, but when she's the only one making that mark, she's definitely the one that's making the noise for the Mountain Lions. She was able to do that. At Western State, I feel like they were able to actually get in a groove. Besides a couple key turnovers and some free throws that weren't made, they actually played very solidly. This is a Mountain Lions team that we were used to seeing. They were out there and they got the win, took care of business, and was ready to go on. It's the Mesa game that we want to break down because the defensive side of the ball, for some reason, it wasn't able to be there. When two girls on the team drop 55 points on you, or 53 points, excuse me, there's something defensively sound that needs to be there, because even if you were able to double one of them, that leaves one open, and that even if you leave one open, the other girl
she's not going to score 50
points.
or
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you drop 50 points and two girls hold literally 3/4 of the score, that comes down to a defensive game the entire time. Because even if we were hot on fire with percentage of shooting, there was no way we were going to catch up to those two shooting guards because they were just phenomenal. It's like Charlie said. They would put up faders from beyond the arc and not even look and walk away, and they would go in. And it was just incredible. I mean, I give it to them. They're some of the best shooters I've seen all year, and they just had a great game.
So looking back and analyzing that game, is it more that they were just on point all night long, or did UCCS, did our Mountain Lions just not play defense at a high enough energy level to really contest those shots and really give them a fight?
I think it's both. I think these girls, it was their night. They were ready to go, and that was a part of it. I also think the other part of it is a mental thing. I don't know what happened on the travels or what happened, but there were some crazy passes that weren't made, and countless turnovers and free throws missed, and even layups missed, and those are fundamentals when it comes to basketball. And if you can't make those, you're not going to make those three-point shots, those crazy plays with passes that we need and the assists. You have to get the fundamentals down, and that's not what we were able to handle when we were at Mesa.
Very good take. Mac, I also want to get your take. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, loud and clear, MJ. Can you hear me okay, too?
Absolutely, Mac. Okay, so I got to ask you this. Typically at this point in the season, this is when coaching staffs are wanting the teams to be kind of reaching that peak. According to Spencer, they weren't operating with the fundamentals this past Saturday that they need to. So, Mac, my question is to you, where are they right now in the season? Do they feel comfortable with where they're at, knowing they just lost to Colorado Mesa, made some big mistakes, or do they feel really good about things, knowing what they have, their capabilities moving forward? I mean, that's 2 Saturdays in a row now that they've taken a loss, 2 of the 3 all season long in the RMAC.
Yeah, correct, MJ. All 3 of their losses have been on Saturday night, and, I think it was a little bit of a struggle, and unfortunately, Coach Plett had the, emergency surgery, so Coach Liz actually by herself because her graduate assistant was also at a wedding, so unfortunate circumstances there. But, talking about the Mountain Lions team and whether your question was if they're comfortable where they're at or where they're going, and I think, they're trying to I feel like the road trips are hurting them a little bit. I'm talking to, a couple of their players, like, the Splash Sisters, as you call them right there. But, that they feel a little bit uncomfortable when they travel on the road. And talking to Coach Liz, she knows that this being at home is going to be the comfort that the Mountain Lions need. And I think after, 4 games on the road like that, it's going to be really beneficial for them to come back at home and just, get back in the groove of things there before they take it on the road again next weekend.
Mac, what's your take this past weekend in terms of Friday and Saturday night's games? Win on Friday night against Western State and then a loss to Colorado Mesa on Saturday night. Can you kind of give us your overview of the action there from what you remember calling from those games?
Well, yeah, MJ, what happened is, I guess we'll break down Friday night first. That only makes sense. So Western State, they ended up going to the free throw 23 times, I believe, and the Mountain Lions went to the free throw line 16, making 9 of those shots. Western ended up making, I believe, 22 of 23 of those free throws. That was really key. Mountain Lions still end up pulling up a victory in that game despite those free throws. That's really huge, and that, it says a lot about the offense. And, talk about Jen Vihill's play with 17 points, 5 assists. Really just able to spark her team and everything like that throughout that game. So, Western State, it was good to see them, start off and get the win on the road. Also, Brittany Hernandez with 11 points on that night, like you mentioned earlier. But, going into that Saturday night game against Mesa, Mountain Lions did have that drive. So they ended up, I feel like they did a really good job on defense on Brianna Adams. However, they did not expect Aaron Richley to score 15 of the 19 points in the first quarter. that really set them back a lot, and she was firing. And then there was another girl on the team, Epenisa, I believe. She went 7 of 7 from the field there and 2 of 3 from her free throw. She ended up having 16 points too. So 3 players having nearly, like 69 points of the 80 points on the team. That's really huge, and that says a lot. Those 3 players caught fire, and I believe you asked Spencer a question, if they caught fire, or was it the defense for the Mountain Lions? I think the Mountain Lions were struggling because of how much fire they were on. They were trying to either, stay with the man, but the screens and blocks, they were just really rolling with them for Mesa, and the crowd really helped out Mesa, I feel like, there too. And, again, on that night, 23 free throws from Colorado Mesa, 6 from UCCS. So if the Mountain Lions are struggling getting to the line like that, and Mesa's able to get those extra points, the final score 23-80, if Mountain Lions can get, say 15 more free throws, they're right there in the game.
Very well said, Mac. I think you're absolutely right. If they were on fire, it sounds like they need more of a dose of the Splash Sisters to put them out, but unfortunately didn't work out that way. Mac, I want to get your thoughts. Here in just a few moments, we're going to be previewing the UCCS games for tomorrow night, so stay tuned with us, Mac. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes. And to our loyal listening fans, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the sports information director here at UCCS, Jared Verner, who's going to help us break things down for the UCCS track event this past weekend at the Twilight Invitational. We'll be back with more Lions Den right after this.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.